And we are live. What is up, Gen Nation? You got my boy One Shot, and we got Wade Pool or Zuplex, the Breaker of Chains, the Unsullied. I don't know whatever other name he goes by. What's up? Before we get into the topics, Wade, or Zuplex, I need to comment your Stay Puffed S'mores Kid shirt. That's a pretty baller outfit there. Pretty baller outfit. I like that. I decided. All right, let's start. Steve, I know you haven't really watched, right? If I ask you if you watched the Peacemaker finale, what are you going to tell me?
I'm going to tell you I haven't watched it.
Yeah, all right. Well, spoiler alert, it was fantastic. Just like every other part of that show, it was excellent. Let me get an image up here. Zuplex, why don't you go ahead and tell us what you what you honestly felt about it, while I go ahead and get an image for the Peacemaker show up.
I thought it was a great end to an already great season. Like, it gave us a lot in this one episode. You got Peacemaker through and saving the day as he should. Him saving Hardcore. You got some good moments from Eagly, who is slowly becoming my favorite character in the entire show.
Yeah, I don't blame you for that one.
Vigilante had some great stuff,
See, Vigilante really became my favorite character, man. Vigilante was an amazing character, really well done.
Super well done. Like, every time he's like super injured or shot, and he's just standing there like holding his side, just like, nah, I'm fine.
Yeah, that scene was cracking me up.
Jumps out a window.
I said out loud too. I go, shouldn't you need a hospital? You were shot in the back. And he's like, no, I'm good. And then he just falls over. He's just really well done. I actually there's something about, I used to think that it was DC specifically that just did not know how to make special effects. Every time they did anything CG heavy, it never looked that great. And then James Gunn comes along. Not only does he do the Suicide Squad, and it really looked phenomenal, but he takes over a DC show, and in the show, he kills it with the special effects. Why can't the normal DC stuff look as good as this show did?
I honestly don't know. I don't know if they use a different effects house for movies that they use for their shows, but they should really just start using guys that they use for the shows for the movies at this point.
No, absolutely. Because the whole creature, the cow, as they called it. So, Steve, in the show, basically there's an alien takeover, and in order to stop them, they have to kill this alien cow, they call it. It looks like a giant, like... Did you ever see Starship Troopers? You know what the smart bug looks like? It kind of looked like that with, 6 or rows of boobs and teat, if you will. And
like something like Rick and Morty.
100% looked like someone from Rick and Morty, and they had to kill it. That was basically the goal for the finale, and it looked phenomenal. It didn't look too CG. It looked like it belonged there. They shot it from the right angle, so it looked huge and intimidating. Why can't other people do that? I just don't understand.
I don't know. Maya, I thought, stole the show a little bit.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I think she was phenomenal. I think she's a really good actress too. I really like her. And in the end, we got the ultimate like great tie-in to everything else that we were.
Steve, did you happen to see the special cameo at the end?
I heard about it.
So basically, throughout the season, it was a running joke. Peacemaker would basically talk about how different DC superheroes or Justice League members were essentially like pieces of shit. It starts off literally within the first, 10 minutes of the show. He has a conversation with a janitor, and he tells the janitor how he doesn't like Aquaman because he fucks fish. And the janitor's like, really? And he's like, I'm cool if you fuck guys, I'm cool if you fuck girls, but once you fuck fish, I draw the line. And then, throughout the whole show, he's making comments about how different heroes are just assholes. They're not as cool as Peacemaker. So then the whole, spoiler for anyone who's listening, the whole show happens. They save the day, the whole nine. They're walking out after all this big battle. Everyone's kind of injured and tired and whatever. And the Justice League shows up. You get Aquaman, the Flash, Superman, and Wonder Woman. And he right away goes, "You're fucking late, dickheads," and he just walks by them. And then he tells Aquaman to go fuck another fish, and he just keeps going. And then my favorite, though, and this is probably what you were mentioning, Zuplex, my favorite is that after he says that, it zooms in on Aquaman, and it's actually Jason Momoa in the Aquaman suit, and he goes, "I fucking hate that rumor." And then it zooms in on Flash, and it's Ezra Miller, and he goes, "But it's not true, though." I mean, no, but he goes, "But it's true, though, right?" And then Aquaman just goes, "Fuck you, Barry," and that's it. That's the cameo. I mean, just phenomenal.
Like, that's the interaction I want to see in every Justice League movie going forward, with like Aquaman looking at Barry and being like, "Fuck you, Barry."
100%, 100%. And I'm telling you right now, if they lean into that kind of humor, instead of going with the dark and gritty, everything's got to be like emotional and whatever. If they lean into that humor, I feel like the DC movies going forward are going to be unbelievably entertaining. Like, they could be fantastic.
I don't think they'll.
I don't think they will either. I mean, you know, clearly they're not doing it with Batman. I mean, I know this Robert Pattinson's Batman is not a DCEU movie. It's like a standalone thing. But Aquaman was made by James Wan. He's not leaning into that kind of humor. I mean, James Gunn has a very specific humor that he uses. And he nails it home. I mean, he knows how to build a dysfunctional family. He knows how to make random characters that you would never think you would root for at your favorites. You got to give the guy credit, man.
Absolutely. I mean, for him to make Peacemaker, of all characters, he went with Peacemaker and made him like a deep, funny, like there's so many levels to this show. You find out that his dad was this uber racist Nazi. He was raised, he killed his brother. Like, there's so many layers to it. Explain why he's so deeply flawed as an adult human now.
Yeah.
And I thought Cena was really good.
Fantastic. This was like the role that he was born to play, it feels like.
And I hope he keeps doing it, Hope that we were talking about James Gunn, him getting he decided that he only wants to do DC TV.
That says a lot. I feel like that really says a lot about what Warner Brothers wants to do or moving forward with the DC universe, whether they do a universe or not. But honestly, I'd be okay if they had a James Gunn verse and it was literally just his DC superheroes. We know obviously the Justice League's a part of it, but like that he basically had his own little pocket and he can build out whatever he wants. He's earned that right. He's honestly earned the respect. He could be like the Kevin Feige of his own little world in the DC side.
And I kind of want them to give him Doom Patrol, even though there's a Doom Patrol series already.
But he would do that. Oh my God, he would do that so well.
I think scrap whatever's already done. Say, like, listen, this is a new Doom Patrol. James Gunn's in charge. Let's do it.
I mean, I would love for him. Doom Patrol would be a good choice if they took the Legends of Tomorrow off of CW and gave it to James Gunn, or just let him take that show but bring it to HBO Max and do a James Gunn version of that show. I think he would. That's a great choice for him. I think though, in my perfect opinion, the first thing I thought of when they said that they were giving James Gunn basically free reign on DC shows after Guardians, I want him to do a Constantine show. I feel like he could kill that character better than anyone else, and we have had some decent Constantines. I'm not saying the guys who did it before were bad, but he would do it perfectly.
I mean, I would like to see him do Justice League Dark.
Oh yeah, that's a great. That would be
Constantine,
fantastic.
Zatanna, Swamp Thing, that type of team up movie with.
That's got him written all over it though. If he builds out, he could do a Swamp Thing show or movie. He could do a Constantine show or movie, and then to build up to a Justice League Dark with all those characters, that's got him written all over it for sure.
Because I mean, there was a Swamp Thing show recently that really no one watched because it was right before HBO Max got
right.
It was on the market. And
it was actually a good show.
DCEU app that they had.
Yeah, it was actually a good show, but I don't know that Swamp Thing was really a show people wanted, and then they didn't really do a great job marketing it. So I don't know if people even knew it was really out.
No one had that app. You know what I mean? No one knew that app even existed. Like, I got it, but then I was like severely disappointed with it.
I remember I knew it existed, but I remember I didn't even plan to get it because I just knew I wasn't going to use it that much.
Well, I was excited about the Titans and Patrol being on it.
I do need to watch Titans still and Doom Patrol.
You do. I don't know if you do.
I mean, I kind of want to. I feel like I feel like it's something I should watch if I'm gonna call myself some sort of nerd king or whatever. I don't have as many names as you, but I do have a few.
I tried hate watching that second season as much as possible, and I just
hate watching.
So rough.
That's pretty funny.
So rough. I hated myself every time I turned it on.
I mean, I feel like up until Peacemaker, and this is just my opinion, they had the first few seasons of Arrow, the first few seasons of Flash were good, the first few seasons of Legends of Tomorrow were good, but otherwise, the rest of the shows really have not held up well. The Doom Patrol, from what I understand, was garbage. Titans was garbage. I mean, I guess the Superman and Lois show it's on now is supposed to be good, but I'm not a Superman fan, so I'm not gonna like it at all.
So two different styles.
Right.
You have one network television. Everything's created by Berlanti over there.
Right.
Greg Berlanti's got the free reign of anything on the CW at this point.
Yeah, but he got a little too excited. I think he kind of bit off a lot more than he could chew.
He's bitten off more than he could chew. He did that almost immediately.
The moment they let him open up other shows, forget it.
The Titans and Doom Patrol stuff is very, very different from CW.
Right.
But it's also there's in the first episode of Titans, there's this whole fight scene between Robin and a bunch of thugs, and you're sitting there, and the thugs are like, "Oh my God, it's Batman!" And he's like, "Fuck Batman." That's it's just it makes no. It's like what? Why? And they tried to play this whole tortured Dick Grayson type thing where he's just so scarred from Bruce and this, that, and the other thing. And
but that what that sounds like to me. That sounds like some random executive, like some big wig at WB, who's like, "How can we make sure the show does well?" And someone else goes, "Well, what if we make it a point to be like, we're not Batman." And he's like, "Oh, that'll make us stand out." And then they just run with it. I remember the trailers too. For that reason, that whole scene, they kept showing it over and over again, and it made me kind of go, "This doesn't really seem that interesting." They're so focused on being the opposite of Batman that it's gonna suck.
Focused on being gritty for gritty's sake.
I wonder though. So my biggest question mark with James Gunn focusing on the DC shows on HBO Max is how much sway is he going to have over the Penguin show that's already been announced, over the
I don't think he's
Gotham
involved in that.
Right, and then there's a Gotham show that's I guess not really the same Gotham show that was on, but it takes place in Gotham with the precinct or whatever about the police. It's not James Gordon. I don't think he's going to have any say in that. So those are two shows that he's not going to be involved in. And to me, it's just let him control everything. Let him, like you said, let him be the Kevin Feige of DC shows on HBO Max going forward.
I mean, listen, I'm not the Quesada, if you will.
Yeah.
Guy that because they had Joe Quesada in charge of all the Marvel Netflix shows.
Right. And he did an okay job. I mean, the Marvel Netflix shows were phenomenal. I mean, Daredevil was hands down the best one.
Iron Fist notwithstanding, the rest of them were pretty good.
They were great, and I would argue that season 1 of Iron Fist was just trash, trashier than trash. But season 2 was a huge improvement and left me excited for what season 3 was going to have.
Yeah, there's all types of stuff they could do with all that. So
I still think I am excited for Iron Fist to make a comeback. Maybe not Danny Rand, because if they keep the continuity, that's going to be tough. But I want to see Iron Fist fight Shang-Chi, so I'm excited for that to be a thing.
I think they just get a new actor, call him Iron Fist, call him Danny Rand, and just forget
reboot
that guy was. You don't have to reboot it. Just keep it going. Like they could do what they did with Rhodey and between Iron Man 1 and Iron Man 2. It's just
that's true.
That's Danny Rand. That's who it is. Everybody deal with it.
Yeah, and if they need an explanation, they've already baked it in. They've already baked in an explanation for anyone who looks different, though, with all the multiverse stuff. So, I mean, it's kind of an easy answer now to just say, let's just get someone else who's better at it, Now, all right, so, Peacemaker was phenomenal. Just as a quick recap, Peacemaker was phenomenal. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. If you like Deadpool, then you're going to absolutely love Peacemaker. It's got a similar vibe. Because of how good it is, James Gunn is now going to be in charge of all the DCEU shows after Guardians. Basically, he's going to focus 100% on that. So let's keep that in mind as we move forward. And then next, I want to talk about the next topic, which is going to be the X-Men. So we also talked about Doctor Strange last week. We all talked about some of the rumors, some of the casting rumors, and so on. It's pretty much all but fully confirmed that the X-Men, or at least Professor Xavier from the animated X-Men show, is making his live action debut, and that it's Patrick Stewart, and he's in his wheelchair.
His gold.
He's in his gold wheelchair from the show right now. And I don't know if you guys have seen, there's been some deep dives on Doctor Strange trailer showing that there's a quick moment in the trailer where Doctor Strange and I think Chavez are becoming animated. They're going into some sort of animated dimension, and
they're coming out of the animated universe.
Right. So it might be like a split-second scene, even in the movie, but they're clearly connecting all of the different Marvel properties. There's also been a big rumor that Tom Holland is filming, recording, or doing something for the next Into the Spider-Verse or Across the Spider-Verse movie. So they're clearly connecting all avenues of Marvel will be connected at the end of this Doctor Strange 2. My question to you, let's assume that Patrick Stewart is the Xavier from the animated show. It's safe to assume that that's going to be the kind of focus for the X-Men as they start to get introduced into the MCU. Let's talk about fan casting. Who do we want to play? We got our main players, right? So I'm going to kind of go down the list. The hardest one, I think, is Wolverine. So we could start with him. Hugh Jackman's not coming back as Wolverine. Let's just put that out there. Unless Marvel goes deep into their pockets, which we
don't want Hugh
Jackman all know they can do. He's not coming back. And I agree with you. He did it for 10 years. He survived the X-Men Origins Wolverine movie. And he not only survived it, but he redeemed the character by Logan, made it the best version of Wolverine that we've ever seen. So,
in my opinion, Logan is the only version of Wolverine we've ever gotten.
Right.
The rest of them, in my opinion, weren't that great.
Well, so I can't say I agree with you 100%, mainly because the Wolverine movie where he goes to Japan, I thought he was excellent in that movie.
No,
and
absolutely terrible.
Terrible?
Stop it.
Why was he terrible?
The whole movie was trash. Get
out of here. You got to give me some specifics. What was terrible? Listen, Silver Samurai, let's eliminate Silver Samurai because that was a letdown, all right?
Let's eliminate the main villain.
Eliminate the main villain. But that was the last 10 minutes of the movie. The rest of the movie was excellent. The bullet train fight was awesome. Wolverine was fantastic, or Hugh Jackman should say, was fantastic in the whole thing. You know, there are some plot holes. I'll give you that. You know, he suddenly remembers some things from his past, even though he had amnesia for a while. But, otherwise, the movie was excellent, though.
Man.
I need to know. Get rid of Silver Samurai. That was 10 minutes of the movie. That wasn't even 10 minutes. It was the last 5 or 7 minutes of the movie. What else was so bad about it?
Viper was trash.
Oh, I didn't mind Viper so much. I thought that was fine.
The girl, the girl that she, that he's like...
Yumiko, I think her name was.
Oh, no, Yumiko was supposed to be his wife.
His love interest. Oh, you're talking about the other one.
What
was her name? I don't remember her name now.
Yeah, exactly. No one remembers her name because she was a character that they made up to first throw in there so that Wolverine had, because they couldn't use Rogue.
It didn't matter.
The Uncle Wolvie guy.
It didn't matter. It was still an awesome movie. I 100% don't agree with you there.
The whole plot point of him losing his powers, which makes absolutely no sense.
Well, this is, that's superhero 101 basically. Every time they put a hero like him. This is my one problem with Wolverine. This is the same issue I have with Superman. You make him a little too powerful, then you kind of write yourself into a corner, and it takes away the stakes. So that's one of the reasons why I personally, it might be an unpopular opinion, don't really want Wolverine back for a long time. If they're going to bring him back, bring back X-23. I still think that's the right way to do it. However, keep those characters out of it because we all know they can't die. Not everyone's going to have adamantium. Not everyone's going to have kryptonite. We don't need these people. Avoid them. Go with characters that have stakes.
I mean, if they bring him back in the next Deadpool movie.
I do believe Hugh Jackman's going to make an appearance in that movie. He did leak. He made a kind of a joke with some paparazzi or something that, oh yeah, I'm doing Wolverine again. And then when they were like, wait, what'd you say? He was like, but that's very on brand for Hugh Jackman. So I don't know.
Like 10 times a year to people.
Yeah. I do think so. Deadpool is a character that can't die. But his appeal is not so much that he's this great hero. It's more about his wit, his humor, his nonsense. So it works for him. But with someone like Wolverine, if you want him to be the lead of a movie, but we all know that he's going to survive anyway, I don't see the point to bringing him back, to be honest. So I would want to avoid it.
Lose. Unlike Superman, Wolverine can lose.
Yeah, Yeah, and I guess he has lost in the movies, right? Days of Future Past, who lost. So.
Just because he ends up living doesn't mean he always wins. Like,
well, that's true.
Superman, so like Wolverine's not all powerful, just can't die.
That's true, and I mean he lost to Magneto a couple times, right? So I guess honestly, if they want to bring Wolverine back, I need to see the storyline where Magneto rips the adamantium out of his body. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, that's fine.
Go full blown gore. So what's the fan casting, Steve? Who would you want to play Wolverine in the new MCU?
I don't know. I've thought about that.
I still think personally that Daniel Radcliffe could be an excellent Wolverine if he's willing to bulk up a little bit, kind of add some stockiness.
No fucking way.
Have you seen was it Guns Akimbo? Have you seen these movies where he's just a madman?
Yeah. I mean, like, listen, bro. He's a good actor. It's nothing against him, but I don't think he's got the gravitas to be able to pull off like.
He definitely does. He's gonna play Weird Al Yankovic, and he's gonna do a phenomenal job doing it.
If anybody, like Scott Eastwood.
Scott Eastwood, I think, has the ability to play him for sure.
Like Scotty.
You know who would have been great, but maybe he's a little too old, or he might not be. But Frank Grillo would have been an excellent Wolverine.
Yeah, but he's already Crossbones,
right?
So we got to cross him off the list. Like I would love Tom Hardy. He's Venom.
See now, Tom Hardy. No, he's not Venom. Tom Hardy's not Venom. Tom Hardy is just a guy who was hired to be in the Venom movie. He's not Venom, but he could be a good Wolverine.
Yeah, I also think that John Barenthal would be a good Wolverine, but I want him back as Punisher too bad. I don't want anyone of them to touch him.
Yeah,
I think also if you go older, I think Carl Urban.
Oh, Carl Urban would have been a fantastic Wolverine. Are you kidding me?
No, I think he can still do it. I think he can still do it now.
Well, if you go back to the Old Man Logan route, maybe, but I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, they're gonna CGI up the fight scenes anyway, so like screw it.
Yeah, but I don't know that he doesn't have the right bulk. Not that Wolverine needs to be like this giant bodybuilder, but he does need to be like Taron Egerton has the right size, but I don't know that he can play like the Menace.
Taron Egerton was my next one.
He has the look for sure, but I don't know that he could play that gritty, like vicious kind of character like Wolverine can be.
But you've heard people asking for Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill, no. Hard no on Henry Cavill. No way. No way. He's the Witcher.
I want to see Henry Cavill play like Captain Britain.
Captain Britain he could play. I could even see him playing Colossus, but not Wolverine.
His Russian accent.
He could do it. He's a good enough actor. He could do it. But you know what? He's Geralt of Rivia. Let him stay Geralt. He's good as the Witcher. Let him enjoy that. All right, so
who's next?
Let's see. Let's go to the villains. I want to know who do you think should be the next Juggernaut?
I don't think it matters.
Yeah, because they're going to go full CG.
Deadpool 2, you do it full CG, someone to voice him.
I do want, though, them to connect Juggernaut to Charles. I far like, they've always kind of made him almost like a mindless, I feel like they've always made him a mindless kind of stooge in the movies that he's been in so far. And, the only real thing that makes him so interesting besides his size and his strength is the fact that he's Charles' brother. So, like, I wouldn't mind storyline wise. I agree with you. It doesn't really matter who plays him because they're going to CG him up anyway. But I wouldn't mind.
Because, even in Deadpool 2, he was played by Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, and, like, that's a better version of Juggernaut. But in that movie, Juggernaut didn't ever run... he didn't start the whole momentum thing. He just got into a couple fistfights. So you kind of wasted that opportunity there. Vinnie Jones had the right moment in X-Men 3 where he's running through the walls after Kitty Pryde. But, otherwise, everything else about that character was garbage. Although I am one of the few who's very happy that he said, I'm the Juggernaut, bitch. I was looking forward to that scene. All right, let's go. Let's see. Who else? Let's go Storm. Who plays Storm in the new X-Men?
I got a couple young actresses for this. Not super young, not like kid level. Kiki Lane.
Where's she from?
Was from that Coming to America movie, the second one.
Yep.
There's love interest in that.
Yep.
I think
that's
she's
a good
a really
choice.
hell of a good actress. I think she would do a great job. I got Taylor Russell. Put this all down because I'm a psycho.
Yeah, no, but that's a good choice too. I mean, I think that, to be perfectly honest, I think that a lot of people could play Storm, mainly because Storm was never really given the screen time in the original stuff. So there's no, like, you're sort of comparing somebody to Halle Berry, say, but, you know, Halle Berry had very little screen time. She wasn't a major player as much as she should have been. So I think you can kind of cast anybody, and they have free reign to essentially make it their own.
Like Tiffany Boone from Hunters.
Yep, that's another good one.
That Nazi Killer movie show that was on Amazon. I like her too. I think you go with a relatively, not an unknown actress, but a young, budding actress who is come on the come up right now and stuff like that, who can act and who can really bring the gravitas to it. Because I remember, like, if we're going with the idea that we're thinking about it, and Storm winds up in Wakanda at some point.
100%, and I think she gets her own movie. I don't think Storm, like, she should be a major enough player that she has her own movie, or franchise, not just, you know, a member of someone else's movie. She should be the star.
Yeah, 100%. I can see that. So, you want someone strong, but I would like to. I don't want them to go with like an established like Hollywood actress right now.
I agree.
Somebody who's been in a few things. She can show that she can act, and can really like kind of develop this character around her.
I do think that. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I do think that a big benefit to hiring an unknown that won't require a giant salary and all that stuff is that they need to get her powers right, which they never really did in the movies before. She doesn't, you know, just throw lightning. She actually controls the weather, which is one thing that in the past it was like, yeah, I control the weather, but she basically just made things appear, you know, whenever she wanted. She could shoot lightning out of her hand. That's not what her powers were. So I think a lot of the effects budget needs to go into that, making sure the powers look right. Which is why I think you need to save on the salary. That's just, you know, nerd talk for get somebody who is not famous.
And I think, unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but I think some of the good actresses that would have been great in the role are now already cast.
Yeah.
Wakanda forever.
Yeah.
Or in the Black Panther, you know, you got Okoye. Letitia Wright's Shuri, right?
Right. She would have been a great Storm, I think.
The actress, I can't remember her name right now, but the actress
Lupita Nyong'o.
Nyong'o, yeah. I think she would have been great as Storm, but you know, she's awesome as Okoye, so I'm not mad that we can't use her as Storm because we have her as Okoye.
And Denai Guerrera, who would have been an excellent Storm also. But yeah, but now she's I can't remember her name now. But she's the bodyguard of the king. So all right, Steve, what about Cyclops? Who's out there now that you think should play Cyclops?
Why do you keep putting me on blast?
Because you need to jump in here. I want to know. So you said, I would have said Scott Eastwood for Cyclops.
Nah.
Why?
Because I don't think he's that great of an actor, and you don't need that great of an actor for Cyclops. His eyes are covered.
I disagree. I think we need to get the Cyclops that we always deserved.
No, he can play the leader, but like you need to be able to. You don't need to act with your eyes if you're Cyclops. You just keep the sunglasses on. He has this one like just solid look, this one face he has on at all times. So if you put the glasses on him, boom, you don't have to worry about it. And then it's all about his voice. And you know, vocally, physically, he can play the character. Plus, I think he's more the right size. He's a little too big for Wolverine. We got the tall Wolverine and Hugh Jackman. Now I want a short, stocky guy who's gonna, you know, he's got little man syndrome. He's gonna want to fuck you up because you think you can beat him. You know. You know who could be a good Cyclops? I can't even remember his real name now. But if you guys watched Black Sails or Doom Patrol or the latest Resident Evil movie, the guy who played Wesker in Doom Patrol, I can't remember his character's name, but it's the one with the big arms. And then he was Billy Bones in Black Sails. He's a phenomenal actor. He's actually a really solid actor, but he also has the size.
I can't Doom Patrol, Umbrella Academy.
I'm sorry, Umbrella Academy. Yeah. I'm gonna look him up actually because I can't remember his name now. But he actually, I think, could be a phenomenal Cyclops. He has the ability to be like a leader. You know, he can command the screen.
I'm thinking their Army Hammer.
Well, Army Hammer eats people, so I don't know if we want him.
Hopper, his name.
Yes.
Army Hammer.
Army Hammer could have been an excellent Cyclops, but he's a cannibal, and I don't know if we want to promote that. So
listen, cannibal lives matter, you know.
Cannibal lives matter. Cannibal lives matter. You heard it here, folks. Cannibal lives matter. I guess we're officially advocating for cannibalism. Chris Pine actually could be good. I think he's probably got the right size too, the right look. He's definitely got the charisma to play a leader. So
the right boxing.
Right. So I honestly, that's a good choice. Although I feel like though he's got now let me ask this question actually before I even say what I was about to say. Does Cyclops get his own movie, or is he a secondary player in someone else's movie?
I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna give him his own movie. They might. The way I see us getting a Cyclops movie is if they do Starjammers and.
Yeah. I mean, I think they kind of have to. I think Cyclops does get his own movie mainly because he could essentially be the Captain America type for the X-Men, meaning he's the character that a lot of people hear and they're like, oh, okay, well, who gives a shit? It's Cyclops, not a big deal. But he could win you over with the leadership, with the kind of Boy Scout mentality, and the stubbornness to be like the good guy. He could be similar. Where Captain America, when he was first announced as getting his own movie, I remember I was kind of like, I'll see it, but I mean, it's Captain America. Like how cool could it be? And by the end of the first movie, I was like, all right, he's involved. Then Avengers came out, and you're like, okay, I get it. I see why he's the leader. And then he had his own movie, and the Russo brothers just blew me away and said, you know what? He may be my favorite character now. I didn't realize he could be that badass. Cyclops is in that range, you know what I mean? So I think you need to give him a movie so you can give him the time to really develop that kind of character on screen before he takes over the X-Men to earn his leadership.
Just his backstory doesn't lead to a standalone movie much.
Right. But if they combine him and Havoc, maybe instead of introducing Havoc as his brother, I feel like that could alleviate that a little bit. Or maybe instead of maybe not necessarily get rid of Havoc or combine them. Maybe instead you kind of age up. You age up Havoc to be this, or I'm sorry, age him down so that him and Cyclops are more like right around the same age, and they go through their shit together. That could kind of fill in that gap. And this is just me talking. I don't think a lot of fans would be that upset if they made those kind of changes to his origin. My thing is, I don't think Professor X, as much as he's like a major player for the X-Men, I don't think you give him his own movie. He needs to be like the Nick Fury, like he kind of appears in different movies, helps kind of elevate those characters. But I think Cyclops should get his own movie. Storm should absolutely get her own movie. In the Cyclops movie, you probably introduce Jean Grey, I'd say, but you don't make her like a background character. The biggest problem they made, and they have made now multiple times with the Dark Phoenix saga, is Jean Grey is a background character, and then suddenly they're like, oh yeah, by the way, she's pretty much the strongest being in the world, and she's gonna murder everybody. And we're supposed to care, you know what I mean? She needs to be a main player in the movie for sure. I don't think she gets her own movies, but she needs to be a major player.
I think going forward, when they bring in the X-Men, I think they're going to lean. I think Jean Grey is going to be the linchpin to the whole thing anyway.
Smart. No, that's smart though. Think about how much more emotional it'll be if she's the one that's like kind of the emotional core for every single character, and then all of a sudden she's the one they got to beat.
I mean, that's kind of where I was going with it. Is that all the galactic stuff that they're going to be doing, like a reason not to bring in the Phoenix. You bring in the Phoenix Force, you have, whatever happens, you build out your X-Men universe, and then the Phoenix comes and Jean Grey gets taken over.
Right.
Now you're dealing with Dark Phoenix. Now you're possibly dealing with the Phoenix 5.
Right.
Now you've set up X-Men versus Avengers.
I feel like that's the right path to take for Dark Phoenix in general, but for the X-Men, the Phoenix saga can't be the first major thing they have to face. There's got to be a slow build up. The thing I got most excited for the moment they said X-Men was finally a part of the MCU, or at least owned by Disney, was that Kevin Feige, if he's going to do the Phoenix saga, he's going to do it the right way. And he's not going to give us one movie and then all of a sudden Phoenix is around. He's going to really build up to it. He's going to hint at it. He's going to allow us to get excited for it for like years before we finally get it, which is what it should be. I mean, I would say Dark Phoenix, that whole saga could be the next Thanos level threat if they do it right. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be just X-Men. That could be a fucking MCU-wide threat, but we'll see what happens with that. Who are we missing here? What about Mr. Sinister?
speaking of Phoenix, let's go to Jean Grey.
Okay, yeah. Who do you want to play Jean Grey?
Yeah. I think Lily James.
Oh, that's a good choice. That's a very good choice. I didn't even think of her.
Who's Lily?
Like Lily James.
She's in the Tom and Pammy show now. She's playing Pam Anderson.
She's also in Baby Driver.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That's actually a really good choice.
Actually, kind of basing it off that Pam and Tommy show because she's really good in that show. She kind of like really transformed into Pam Anderson in that show.
I will say looks wise she did, but I haven't watched the show enough. I didn't even make it to the Talking Dick yet, so I can't tell you how good the show is.
So,
Benny 2755 says nice. I think he likes the Lily James choice for Jean Grey.
Yeah, Lily James, I think, is your go-to for Jean Grey. I think she's a phenomenal actress. I think she's a lot of different ranges that you could play off of, and I think she's the way to go with it.
Benny also says that she's a smoke show, which, I hope my wife's not watching. It's very true. I will say that Sophie Turner was not the worst choice to play Jean Grey, but they just didn't take her character seriously. I don't think she's a terrible actress. I think she could have played it fine. But, again, like I said before, Jean Grey, and specifically the whole Dark Phoenix saga, that's not a background player that suddenly is, the main villain. Like, that's a main character that needs to be the focus of a couple of movies. She hasn't gotten the respect she deserves. I think maybe now we're ready for the Jean Grey movies or a Jean Grey trilogy. I do think she should probably get her own movie, at least one movie. Maybe not a trilogy of movies, but at least one movie, just to introduce the character.
Agreed.
What about, let's see. So, wait, you know what? We skipped. I'm sorry, we skipped somebody. The big one, this is probably even harder than Wolverine, I'd say. Magneto. Who do we get to play Magneto? And while we're at it, Xavier.
One person only, Bryan Cranston.
For Magneto or for Xavier?
Cranston is your Magneto.
Bryan Cranston as Magneto.
Bryan Cranston is your Magneto.
I feel like Steve's face is the same as what I'm thinking right now. I don't know if I could see him playing Magneto. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love myself some Heisenberg, but like Magneto?
And Heisenberg as Magneto.
Tell me why.
I think he's a phenomenal actor. He could play that type of like not unhinged, but strong leader of a cult of evil mutants that he's trying to like destroy all humans from mutant kind. I could see him doing that.
I don't know, man.
Being that guy.
I want to trust your opinion, but you're a fan of Robert Pattinson as Batman, so I'm not sure.
He's got a point.
History will be on my side on that one.
It might be with the Batman one, but I don't know. I mean, I like Bryan Cranston. He's definitely a good actor. I could see him more of like a Mr. Sinister than Magneto. I don't know if I could see him as Magneto.
You're Mr. Sinister, but go on.
Well, all right, now I need to know who you're going to say for Mr. Sinister. Who do you think should play him?
Reeves.
Benny says no way.
Benny says no way. Benny, who do you think should play Magneto? I need to know. We need opinions here. Well, actually, wait. Before we move to Mr. Sinister, though, I need to know Xavier. Obviously, Patrick Stewart's making a comeback in Doctor Strange 2, but my gut tells me it'll be a glorified cameo. I don't think he'll be in it for a while. Who plays Xavier going forward besides James McAvoy, who was a great Xavier, but I don't think he's interested in the role anymore.
I don't think he was good.
Well, no, but he was good for the Xavier they needed for those movies. Maybe now, all right, hold on. Let me rephrase.
First Class.
Let me rephrase. Let me rephrase what I'm saying. Actually, he was a good Xavier for First Class. He was a good Xavier for, I guess, Days of Future Past. The rest of them, he wasn't. Mainly because the rest of him was the more classic Xavier, and he's not. He didn't play the classic Xavier the way we would really have expected him to. And he wasn't really even a big part of those movies in general. He was really just a background player in those movies. But for the younger, like, ladies' man Xavier, he played it really well. I have no problems with those two performances.
Mark Strong.
Boom. That's exactly who I was thinking of. Mark Strong. Long past the time where he deserves like some main role, some like real something he could really kind of dive into and stay with for a while. And I think Xavier's the perfect choice. And honestly,
in the Kingsman is Mark Strong.
Yeah, but he could play Magneto
Xavier
better than Xavier. Mark Strong is my opinion for Magneto. 100%. If you take Mark Strong's character, well, maybe if you take his character from Kick-Ass, but just give it an English accent, you have your Magneto right there. Or not even, you know what? Forget it. Not even Kick-Ass. Sherlock Holmes, the very first Sherlock Holmes with Robert Downey Jr. Take Mark Strong's character there, but give him that goofy helmet and some metal powers, magnet powers, and you have Magneto. I'm telling you, he could play Magneto.
My other choice for Professor X is
Ralph Fiennes for Professor X.
Fiennes, yeah.
So Voldemort as Professor X. That's not a bad choice. That's not a bad choice. He could do it.
But think about Fiennes and conversations.
See, Benny 2755. He agrees with me with Mark Strong. He agrees with me. He said bravo, and I appreciate it. That he's a better Magneto. But sorry, go ahead. What were you saying about Bryan Cranston?
Think about this scenario. You have chess scene, or a facsimile of the chess scene, right?
Uh-huh.
With Ray Fiennes and Bryan Cranston just eating up scenery with that.
Yeah, but see, I think I
want that so bad, bro.
This is my opinion. If you put Ralph Fiennes or Ray Fiennes as Xavier with Mark Strong as Magneto doing the chess scene, that's fireworks. It's fireworks. I don't see Bryan Cranston really in a comic book movie. I just don't see him. I don't think he would really be in love with it, and I don't see him be good at it.
That's why it would work, though. No one ever thought Anthony Hopkins would be in a comic, but he is Odin.
He is Odin. All right. Well,
I mean, who's somebody in the MCU?
Sorry, Steve. You broke up a little bit. Say that one more time.
Who's somebody you want to see in the MCU? Not specific to a role, just somebody you want.
An actor or a character?
Actor.
Oh, that's a solid fucking question. Who do I want to see in the MCU?
Reeves.
Who?
Keanu Reeves.
Well, yeah, 100%. He's going to be in it, though. I want him to be, honestly, this is going to be kind of a crazy choice. I would like to see Keanu Reeves play Iceman. Not Iceman, I'm sorry, Silver Surfer.
I see Keanu Reeves play Mr. Sinister.
No. Come on.
Absolutely.
Mr. Sinister.
Absolutely.
I can
Steve?
What'd you say, Steve?
I can agree with him on that.
Keanu Reeves as Mr. Sinister? Really?
Oh, yeah, bro.
Ooh, I don't know about that.
Hell yeah.
I don't know about that. I don't know if I've had enough whiskey to agree with you guys on that one. I think, man, who do I want to see in the MCU? That's a good question. You put me on the spot here. I don't even know. I mean, I want to say The Rock because I'm a fan of his, but I don't believe The Rock can actually get lost in any kind of role he plays. Like, even with Black Adam, it's just going to be The Rock in a costume. So, I think that one's out of the question at this point. Who hasn't been in an MCU movie that I would want to see in an MCU movie? Who's a good actor? You guys keep talking about Bryan Cranston. Let me just think about this for a second.
All right, well, how about this? How about I give you my choice for Iceman?
Go for it.
Ansel Eggert.
Oh, yeah. That's a great choice. That's a great choice for Iceman. And he still looks young enough.
Young enough, can play the younger role, can also play that gravitas of having to be an Omega level mutant.
You know who I want to see in the MCU? Just based off of Ozark. I can't even think of her real name, but the one who plays Ruth. Do you guys watch Ozark?
Yeah.
The girl who plays Ruth, in my opinion, is one of the best actresses out there. What were you saying?
She could play the Stepford Cuckoos. Go down that route.
Yeah, if you're going real obscure with it, I mean, absolutely. She just needs to have a role. She needs to have a role in the MCU. She's a good actress, and you got to snatch her up now before she gets more involved with these more drama filled roles. I'm a big fan of Spartacus, the show, obviously. So I would love to see Manu Bennett in the MCU. I would love to see Liam McIntyre, Crixus, and Spartacus. I would 100% go see that movie if any of them were in it. Jai Courtney is also a great actor. He doesn't get a lot of credit, but he's a really good actor. Just hasn't had good roles. I would love to see him in it, and he's got the physique for it. He played Captain Boomerang really well, so I'd love to see him play like a morph kind of character in the MCU. I think he'd kill that.
I like him. I like him for Sabretooth.
He'd be great at Sabretooth. I see now he's got the physicality. He could play the viciousness. He could play the menace. I would love to see him as Sabretooth for sure. He's just a good actor who can do it. Jason Momoa for Sabretooth.
Went with like the dreadlocked, long-haired, like savage Sabretooth. I think you go Momoa. If you go the short-haired, like Liv Schreiber type, I think you go with Jai Courtney.
I could see that. I actually like the short-haired, like less savage, more like vicious.
I mean, so do I.
Sabretooth. But Jason Momoa should be in the MCU. I mean, there's no reason not to. I think there's a lot of characters he could play. You know what I mean?
I'm going to give you two actors. Tell me what role you'd put him in.
Go for it.
Denzel Washington and Gerard Butler.
Gerard Butler. Well, he's going to be... Isn't he in the MCU? Oh, no, I'm thinking of Russell Crowe. Russell Crowe is going to be Zeus, right? Or something like that in Thor Love and Thunder. Gerard Butler. He should be in the MCU for sure. What role would he play? He should play Juggernaut. He should be Charles' brother and play Juggernaut. I mean, it would only be his voice, I guess, so I don't know if that counts.
I see him voicing Juggernaut.
I could absolutely see him voicing Juggernaut. And I think that he could bring you were mentioning before about the gravitas for certain characters and all that stuff. He could bring a level of that to Juggernaut that would make him more of a menace rather than just a big brute, you know? As far as Denzel Washington, I don't know. That's a tough one. Who could he play?
The problem with Denzel, and this isn't a knock against Denzel, it's just that he's so much older now. Him in at this point kind of limits the amount of roles he could really be in.
Yeah.
Because like Denzel, I think would have made a great Luke Cage.
I mean, he was younger for sure. He would have made... Honestly, Denzel could have been just as good of Nick Fury as Samuel Jackson was.
Absolutely. Absolutely, he could have.
I can't... The problem is I can't see Denzel playing like a superhero. He'd have to be more of, on like the level of Falcon and the Winter Soldier and stuff like that. Like kind of that CIA operative. Like I could see him playing that, a high up at S.H.I.E.L.D. or something. I can't see him with superpowers. Like I just don't see him... Not that he can't pull it off, because it's Denzel and I just love everything about him, but I feel like he wouldn't even want to do that. You know what I mean? But that's a good question. Who would I want them to play?
So what about Beast?
Benny2755 says, another fine question makes me think which Denzel, Macbeth Denzel or Training Day Denzel? You go Training Day Denzel all the way. I mean, that's 100%. Peak Denzel. Although he's good in The Equalizer. But see, why can't Denzel play Beast? Why can't Denzel play Beast?
Also, Denzel could voice Beast. Have someone else in mind along the same lines that I think would be a good Beast. You're right.
Who do you think? Who do you have in mind? Jeffrey Wright.
About to play Commissioner Gordon in the Batman movie.
Yeah. He's Bernard from Westworld.
From Westworld, yeah. I think him, obviously, like they're gonna CG up the Beast look, right? So you don't really need him to look like Beast. His voice, the way he acts, the way he because Beast is supposed to be Professor X's like oldest friend, his like right hand confidant type of guy. I think could be that wise like warrior in a garden.
I got it.
Kind of.
Gerard Butler should play Cable. I like Jeffrey Wright as Beast for sure. But who plays Bishop?
Denzel.
I mean, he could, I guess, if they're gonna make him like a bishop that wants to retire. But can you see him in the dreads? I don't know about that.
I mean, I would have liked to see a young Denzel play Bishop. I don't know about Denzel nowadays.
Right. See, the problem is we're naming actors
like in that last Equalizer movie.
Yeah, well, we're naming actors. So between Denzel, Gerard Butler, and who did you just name? Bernard. those are all actors that I don't know you're doing them justice if you just let them voice a character. I think you need to see them. They need to be physically in the role. But I don't know who they play, man. It's just a good question.
And Bernard, Jeffrey Wright, you can at least show the transformation of him. No.
Yeah.
You could use his face, like they kind of use Ruffalo's face for the Hulk. And you could use his face where he can actually like act through it.
Yeah.
Like that Ruffalo does, you know. I don't see you give him that kind of like, and even if still like they go to the remember that there was that whole bit from the cartoon where Nightcrawler and Beast had like the changing bracelets that made them look to everybody else like they were human and stuff like that.
Right, so you can go that route. You know who needs to be in the MCU to answer a question that Steve asked before? Iko Uwais from the Raid movies. He's the martial arts guy. You know, that he needs. Well, first of all, the MCU probably needs to employ more just flat out martial artists. Shang-Chi is just proof that we're ready for it. We need people who know how to fight, who can do the scenes themselves, and who can get involved. He's one of the best ones in there. In the game right now, he needs to be there. Tony Jaa, he should be in one of these movies too. Let him take over the characters. You don't have to use their voice if you don't want to, but these guys are physically some of the best actors out there, and they're not given enough of a shot.
Yeah, I think you get guys like that to play some sort of villains. I don't think they. So Tony Jaa, like amazing martial artist, amazing martial arts movie actor. I don't know if he's a good enough actor to carry like a hero role.
I mean, you don't have to give him. I agree with you. Give him a villain, but make him. My thing is, don't make him a one and done villain. I think the big mistake that Marvel made, which everyone talked about for the first 2 phases at least, was that they killed every villain they had, and then you can't bring any of them back. You actors like that can bring that physicality and intensity without even saying anything. You need to give them multiple roles. They need to show up multiple times against different bad guys or different heroes.
I would like to see. I would like to see the dude from the Raid play the Death Dealer.
Oh, 100%.
The Death Dealer. I mean,
right, and that's a mistake right there, And the guy who played Death Dealer too is a great physical martial artist, a great physical actor, and they killed him off in one movie, And it was a crap death too, which is one of my few complaints about that movie.
Yeah. Me too. Who are we missing? Nightcrawler.
I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, Nightcrawler. Oh man, see that's a tough one to recast because it was cast so perfectly the first time.
Alan Cummings was great, but I think
Timothée Chalamet, but you know what though? He's such a good actor. Well, if you give Nightcrawler its own movies, then yes, that's a good role for him.
The thing. If you take Nightcrawler, then you do the Mephisto storyline where he gets his own movie and he becomes swashbuckler Nightcrawler with the sword and the hell pirate ship.
Right.
Timothée Chalamet would kill that.
Chalamet would absolutely kill it. Absolutely kill it. That's a good choice for Nightcrawler, honestly. He's a great actor, and he deserves to have a role that's like meaty. You know what I mean? Nightcrawler can be a real serious actor. Now, here's the last one. Before we move on to anyone else. Channing Tatum is no longer interested in playing Gambit. He said his dreams were ruined, and he's honestly probably too old at this point. He would have been a fantastic Gambit, but let's take him out of the question. Who plays Gambit now?
Garrett Hedlund or Alex Pettyfer?
Who's Alex Pettyfer? Where's he from? Garrett Hedlund, I know. That's a good choice. He could be Garrett Hedlund could be a good Cyclops.
Charlie Hunnam
as Gambit.
Ooh.
That's a good one.
I like that.
That's a good one.
I like that.
And you know what? That's a double answer because he should be in the MCU, so he's a character actor. Excuse me. Travis Flamel is another actor that's similar to Charlie Hunnam from Vikings that should be in the MCU. But Charlie Hunnam as Gambit, I think, is a great choice. That's a phenomenal casting choice right there.
I'm not against that one. I'm not against that one at all.
He just needs to be in the MCU, so he needs a role. Any role you can give him.
Actually, Charlie Hunnam as Ghost Rider wouldn't be bad.
No, but see, so have you watched Vikings? Have you guys seen Vikings?
Yeah.
So Ragnar from Vikings, Travis Flamel. What'd you say, Steve? You broke up.
I said I watched a little bit of Vikings until my wife decided that she wanted to watch it without me.
Oh, and you never, out of protest, you never went back?
Pretty much.
So Travis Fimmel, who plays Ragnar on Vikings, he would be an excellent Ghost Rider. He would be an excellent Ghost Rider.
I also think if we don't go with Keanu as Mr. Sinister, you can bring Keanu in to play Johnny Blaze, assuming that you're bringing in the Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider also.
I think
the young Ghost Rider going forward, Keanu winds up being the Johnny Blaze, like helping out the young Ghost Rider type of thing.
So my guess is if they do bring Ghost Rider back, which, you know, with the Midnight Suns being almost clearly set up at this point, I think they are bringing Ghost Rider back. I think you go with the Robbie Reyes version because he's already been established in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and that guy he killed it as Ghost Rider.
Yeah, absolutely.
Honestly, if they bring Johnny Blaze back, I want to see Nick Cage. I want to see Nick Cage in the role. I don't care what anyone says. Nick Cage is Johnny Blaze. I'm a fan of Nick Cage. There's something about an actor who doesn't give a shit and will just say yes to every role possible and then give it 100%, like to that role, no matter what, even if he's killing a pig.
I love Nick Cage.
I mean, the fact that he did a horror movie where he's trying to murder his own children is just like, I just love Nick Cage. So he needs. I
like Gone in 60 Seconds.
I like Gone in 60 Seconds. Come on, Con Air is a classic. The Rock is a classic. Nick Cage is an animal. Nick Cage is an animal. His energy level is the same. He could still do the same things.
Agreed, but he looks like a bag of mashed potatoes.
All right, they de-aged Samuel L. Jackson for the entire Captain Marvel movie. You de-aged Nick Cage. His physicality is at the level it was back in the 90s, so you de-age him to look that way, you won't even know the difference. You won't even know the difference.
They got it. They can do it.
Right. They can do it. With CGI these days, they freaking brought
John Wick with flaming chains and a motorcycle.
That's what I'm saying, man. They brought Tarkin back for Rogue One, and while everyone wants to complain about how bad the CGI was, it was fucking mind-blowing. They did a great job with the CGI in that movie. For him in particular. Leia was pretty bad. But I mean, come on. They could do it. They're talking about being able to bring back actors that have long died to be leads in new movies.
Listen, I don't want to see anybody that played a previous role come back.
Willem Dafoe didn't just prove to you that you could do that.
No. Now that we got our fill, you know what it is? Willem Dafoe was great in the first Spider-Man movie. The rest of these guys, like the rest of the Marvel movies, besides like Blade, right? The rest of these Marvel movies were not great.
But it doesn't mean Nick Cage still wasn't the right choice. He just had a shitty movie.
And listen, if it was 20 years ago, I'd be on board with you 100%. Let's bring Nick Cage back. Let him get the real MCU Ghost Rider going. The guy looks like he looks like he did in Leaving Las Vegas.
While we're on the topic of bringing back old actors, you know who should voice Galactus? Sam Elliott.
Denzel. Denzel voices Galactus. Let's go.
I can see that. He's got the right voice for it. Yeah. Honestly, I think it should be Sam Elliott or it should be fucking Morgan Freeman voicing Galactus. Can you imagine Morgan Freeman coming out there?
Elliott, Morgan Freeman. Yeah. Oh, James Earl Jones.
Classic. Although Denzel, just the idea of Denzel voicing Galactus cracks me up. Christopher Walken. Whoa, I'm gonna eat your planet. Like that would be pretty funny too. That would be pretty funny. All right,
we missed one also. We missed Rogue.
Oh shit, completely missed. You know, this is how bad all the X-Men movies were. They ruined Rogue so much I didn't even think about her for these new ones. Who plays Rogue? I mean, I feel like you can get a lot of actors to play Rogue. To be perfectly honest.
Yeah, I mean, I think Rogue's going to have a much bigger role in all of this. Thinks because of the Captain Marvel. You've already established Captain Marvel might be the one that ends up killing off Brie Larson.
Right. And I think Kevin Feige understands the importance of the Rogue character overall anyway, more than any of the creators did before. So she's absolutely going to have a bigger role.
I think Alexandra Daddario is a good choice looks-wise. I think she's a good actress too.
Ooh, I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that. I just don't know if she, and not that she's, looks wise, she actually looks like the character, like she's fine, but I don't know that she could pull off the accent and just kind of like the overall emotional side of the character. I mean, Rogue is one of the more heartbreaking characters of the whole X-Men animated show.
Yes.
So I don't know who you pick. I really don't know who could be Rogue. That's a good one. Ruth. Let Ruth be Rogue from Ozark.
Come on, man. She looks like a 10-year-old boy.
Well, if you watch Inventing Anna, she looks a lot better. She looks a lot older, I should say.
Yeah.
Yeah. But she's got the screen. She commands the screen whenever she's on. Even in Inventing Anna, which is a crappy show, when she's on the show, I'm like, man, this woman can act. So I think that's your bet right there. And she could do the accent.
I don't know if she's the physical presence to be Rogue.
Rose Byrne is probably another actress that should be in a Marvel movie. I mean, I know she was in the X-Men movies, but I mean, she could play Mystique probably. She could maybe play Rogue. I don't know if she could really play. I don't know if I would want her for Rogue. But
I like Ruth as Mystique.
Ruth could be Mystique, 100%. She could play. I really have so much confidence in her as an actress. She can play any character they give her.
Yeah. Her better as Mystique.
Let's.
Rose Byrne's a little.
Yeah.
Whose mom could she play in the MCU?
She could play Rogue's mom and play Mystique. I'm going to pull up an image here for our next topic. I think we're ready to move on to, real quick, Uncharted. Just want to talk about real fast. They talked about Uncharted is a franchise now. Sony had enough success with the movie that, they are officially making it a franchise. So that means we're going to get some more Uncharteds. I have not seen the movie yet. Have either of you guys seen it?
No.
So I really don't know how it is. However, if I'm based off of the Resident Evil movie that just came out and the fact that these studios seem to be taking these video game properties a lot more seriously, I have a feeling that I'm going to thoroughly enjoy the movie. I'm a big fan of the game. I like Tom Holland. I like Mark Wahlberg. So, I think the movie will be all right. But for me, it just means that if it did so well, we're going to get more of these video game adaptations on the big screen. So the question I pose to you, motherfuckers, is what video games do you think need movies or TV shows that have not been announced yet? What would you want to see coming down the pipe?
I still want a Gears of War.
Did they announce a Gears of War yet? I thought they announced something being worked on.
They've been saying that since 2012.
Yeah.
Does Gears of War get a show or a movie?
A movie.
Okay. So I think so too. I don't know if Gears of War would be good enough for a TV show, but a movie makes kind of sense. You can have a good action movie, a good solid kind of storyline for a franchise, really. So then let's quickly talk about. Let's talk about fan casting. Who do you want in the Gears of War movie? John Cena?
Everybody.
No.
John Cena, get The Rock, get John Cena, get The Rock, get Dave Bautista in there. Like, get them all. Get all of them. Get all these giant muscled maniacs. Put Momoa in there. Screw it. Go to the WWE. Just buy all their giant guys and put them in Gears of War.
Dave Bautista, I think, should be your main player in Gears of War. He could really, do the physical stuff. He could sell the acting. Movie. Oh yeah, I mean that was basically Marcus Phoenix, or Dom more specifically. What else though? So besides Gears of War, right? Because I know we talked about that before, Steve. What other video game properties need a movie or a TV show?
I think The Division would be really cool.
The Division would be sick. I think that would be a TV show more than a movie. I think you take your time with that one.
Probably.
Like that's the kind of show, that's the kind of property where you would need to show, New York City or wherever it takes place before any of the shit goes down. And then, almost like the first season's leading up to it, and then the second season is like full-blown Division where you have all the sleeper agents awake now, everyone's roaming around, pulling their missions off and going at it. I think that's a good idea.
I think sci-fi type show would be Subnautica.
Well, that's an interesting choice. Subnautica for a TV show. So you have somebody who's crash lands on an ocean planet, and you basically have to search and survive on this little pod, build up a thing. Honestly, any game like that, any of those survival games, Don't Starve, Subnautica, what was the other one? Rust, I think, is another one. Any of those games would be a cool TV show, I think, if you do it the right way.
I love the Subnautica though, like that. It's a phenomenal fucking story.
What's that game? See, now I feel like because I grew up watching movies like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. There's a game out now that Bethesda makes, I believe, where you're shrunk and you're like in a backyard. You deal with like ants and leaves and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Like that'd be a cool idea for a TV show. I mean, obviously, I want to see like your Gears of War. I want to see some of like the kind of the main exclusives. Uncharted is a good step towards that. Mass Effect is one that definitely needs some sort of show or movie.
The effects up there.
Knights of the Republic should be one. What?
See Tekken. We got Mortal Kombat.
But now here's the thing. All right, so I don't disagree with you. Honestly, any fighting game really is prime.
Yeah.
For movies. Yeah. Now I'm not talking shows. I'm talking movies. I said the same thing for Mortal Kombat. The new movie was okay. It wasn't the best movie. It was definitely a better Mortal Kombat than the old ones. But
it's the best Mortal Kombat movie we've gotten so far.
100%. But the mistake they make is that any of these fighting game franchises can be franchises on the big screen. I was thinking about this earlier. So Street Fighter 6 was just recently announced with a teaser trailer. Yep. Street Fighter, they attempted to make a movie they put Van Damme as the American military guy, which made no sense. Then they tried to do it again.
Made a lot of sense.
Yeah. Then they tried to do it again and focus on Chun-Li. They completely fucked that one up. They used what's his name from Black Eyed Peas to play Vega. I don't get what the thought process is there. Any fighting game needs to be an Avengers or MCU format where characters get their own movies, get their own storylines, and they eventually diverge into one event movie, and the event movie is the fighting game. So using Tekken, for example, you need to give Kazuya or Jin or Heihachi their own movie. Let the three of them be introduced in their own friggin' movie. You introduce their dynamic. You could have King, Armor King, Marduk in one movie. You have Paul, you have Lee, and whoever else in that movie. Maybe 3 or 4 movies, and you at the end you tease and tease and tease, and then you have the Tekken movie, which is the culmination of all these storylines coming together for this big fighting tournament. This is the mistake that no one in Hollywood understands. With Street Fighter, you do it with Ryu, Ken, Akuma, then you have like Blanca, Guile, Charlie, all those characters, Chun-Li and whoever else. Introduce them in their own movies, bring them into the event movie, which is the Street Fighter movie. Mortal Kombat was the same thing. They should have had a Shaolin Monks movie, give us Liu Kang and Kung Lao and Raiden. Give us the ninja movie or whatever it is. Give us Sub-Zero, Scorpion, whatever you want to call it. Give us the Black Dragon movie with Sonya, Jax, and whatever. And then you bring them into the Mortal Kombat movie. Instead, they keep trying to rush it. They want to get to the big tournament, and I think that's where they keep fucking it up. They screw it up then.
I agree with you that they should have done that with Mortal Kombat. I don't know if the backstories for the rest of these fighting games are strong enough to where you have combat's kind of on its own, where you could do Sub-Zero, Scorpion, Ninja Clan movie, and that would be phenomenal to watch, right? You could do the Shuriken versus the Lin Kuei.
Yeah.
You could do a Black Dragon movie where you have, Cabal and
you have Cabal, you have Kano, you have Havoc.
Kano. Yeah, they're Havoc. They're running the Black Dragon and Sonya and Jax, and even bringing Johnny Cage into that one.
Right.
Trying to take down the Black Dragon clan. You could do all that with Mortal Kombat. Street Fighter and Tekken, backstories of the characters I don't think are deep enough to garner them having their own movie. But I do agree that there needs to be some sort of setup to it.
I think Tekken.
You do.
I think Tekken probably fits more in a TV show format. I don't know if you make a movie out of Tekken, but again, though, you take the time to build up each character. You give them their own episodes. Do you remember that Mortal Kombat web series that was on a couple years back, where like they gave like Scorpion his own movie and Sub-Zero his own movie. You do the same thing with the Tekken characters, and then the finale, or maybe you just have the show lead into a movie called Tekken, and that becomes the biggest thing. You know what I mean?
I mean, that's a bad idea.
But I feel like the problem with these fighting games is they keep trying to take all these characters with all these backstories, shove them into 1 2-hour movie, and you don't give the fighting enough time, which is really the main reason why we're even there to watch the movie. But you also don't give the backstory enough time.
I think the opposite is almost true too, because like instead of them giving us, I mean, you're right that they should give us the backstory of all the characters, right. But focusing on enough of the characters, they focus on one character going through the tournament or going to fight. Like in Mortal Kombat, it was Cole, who was a character. I don't even know why they brought him in.
Don't even get me started, man. That was just such a stupid decision by them. I don't know what they were thinking.
Even that Tekken movie from a few years ago that was pretty much trash.
They focus on Jin. Like he's the only character that matters.
Exactly. So, like, you're not getting any character development out of anybody else.
Right.
You're saying you're choosing the wrong characters.
Right.
In my opinion, like even in Mortal Kombat, like I'm assuming they did this because they know they're going to make a second one. But like having was be the characters that they chose to have on like the villain side very weak.
And it was very straight. Well, yeah, I mean, they clearly, to me, it was obvious they picked Natara and what was the other guy who? Oh, and who was the other person who died on the villain side? Cabal. I think it was Cabal. No, Cabal. They chose Natara, Cabal. Oh yeah, and General, what's his name? So or whatever. Yeah, like they chose those characters clearly because they wanted to have fatalities done and they wanted to really have them mean something. And those characters aren't major characters, so they brought them in there to kill them. But my thing is. The problem is they like, and using the Tekken movie that came out as an example, they focused on Jin, but without really focusing on his relationship with Kazuya or Heihachi. Kazuya was just a bad guy. It just made no sense. Like these, I feel like they don't give. They feel like one character is the main character in these games, but really, there's a handful at least of characters who are considered main characters, not just fan favorites, main characters that should be given the chance to shine before you even get to the tournament. And then when you get to the tournament, you don't have to focus on the backstory. You could just give us the tournament, give us the fights that we want. But at least you built up to it. So now we're invested and we're interested and all that kind of stuff. I feel like that's the mistake they make.
Where each chapter is a different character.
Right. If you do, like Tekken's a good example. If you do a 10 episode show and one episode is focused on the Kazuya family, one episode is focused on the Paul and Lee relationship, one episode is focused on, I don't know, King and Armor King or whatever. You just give us these characters and you give us 1/2 hour, 45-minute episode to like let us kind of connect and get their personality and whatever fighting style, their backstory and motivation. Then when you get to the actual tournament, you don't have to show us that stuff. You don't have to waste any time. You can put all the effort into the fight scenes and give us some of the best choreography that's out there. That's what we're missing.
And you also like make us think about more like who's gonna win.
Right?
Because when you're following one character, like everybody knows that character is going to win the tournament.
Right. Well, and yeah, right. It's a given. Like none of us thought Cole was going to die in Mortal Kombat. As much as he was getting his ass beat by Goro, none of us thought he was going to die. We were all waiting for the other shoe to drop and for him to find a way to win. Even though I was finger crossed, I was hoping he died.
But like if you did it in this way, what you're talking about, then you don't know who to root for. You start rooting for multiple people. You build a little bit more drama with like, oh man, I love King, but now he's about to fight Law, and I love Law too. Like, who do I root for? Like, this is
exactly.
Tough,
That's one of the reasons why the Captain America Civil War movie was such a good movie, because you loved every single character in that airport scene. You were a fan of everybody or almost everybody. So when you see Captain America and Iron Man going fist to fist and just like beating the fuck out of each other, you're kind of like, I really don't know how I want this to end. You know what I mean? And that's one thing that they need to try to replicate with these fighting games when they try to bring them to the big screen. And any fighting game could be good. Street Fighter could make good movies. Tekken could make good movies. Mortal Kombat already has the story side of it down in the game, so I guess that's why that seems to translate better to the big screen. But even
it does.
I'm sorry, Steve. What were you saying?
Steve.
I was gonna say, while I'm thinking about it, what about a Skyrim TV series?
100. That was the choice I was going to make before, and then I got distracted because you mentioned Cole and Mortal Kombat. Yeah, no, Skyrim I think should be a TV series. You know, I don't want to say it should be like the Game of Thrones of video game TV shows, but there's so much lore, there's so much backstory.
It would be the Game of Thrones of video game
It would, I mean, it really would. You know what I mean? But Fallout is getting its own show. I mean, they're working on it now. They've already cast somebody, Walton Goggins, which I forgot to even mention. I think I mentioned on the Facebook group, but that's a phenomenal casting as like a main character for that show. And he's not even playing a human; he's playing a ghoul, which is even better. Excuse me, like that is a huge choice, and I feel like if that show does well, then they really should consider a Skyrim or an Elder Scrolls. I guess it doesn't have to be Skyrim, right? It could be Morrowind, or it could be Oblivion. But like 100%, that's a world ripe for a TV show.
Zelda.
My only problem with Nintendo properties though is that they haven't really built out personalities for their characters. You know, like Mario, we know Zelda's that he eats mushrooms. Zelda maybe a little bit, but he's just a mute character. Like I don't know that they would there would be too many liberties taken to bring him to the screen, and it would just kind of ruin it for me. I think that's just my opinion. You know what I mean? I just don't know that Nintendo is as focused on the story as other people, as other. You know, we don't need the exact same story. What are you saying?
But I think Zelda is the one that they've kind of fleshed out more than any of the others. So if you're gonna pick, and honestly, I think they need to go forward. Because personally, I love this adaptation, but I think they need to go forward with more Pokemon movies.
Well, before we jump off Zelda,
Detective Pikachu is really good.
But before we jump off Zelda, I will say that I think the only way they can do a Zelda movie or TV show the right way is if they actually focus on Zelda and not Link. Make Zelda the main character and focus on her and her journey as like the queen, and then use Link as like, he's just a companion who's in the show and a big part of the show, obviously, but give Zelda a little more urgency. You know what I mean? And then I agree with you with Pokemon. I think Pokemon is ripe for honestly a lot of different movies and shows. I agree with you. Detective Pikachu was actually an entertaining movie. And I think there's a lot of like potential there for multiple versions, multiple stories being told in that universe for sure.
Because like as much as I liked, and I really enjoyed Detective Pikachu. I thought it was entertaining as hell. I thought the Pokemon looked great. I thought the interaction with them and like the live action, actors and stuff like that was amazing. I thought showing like the kind of like world of Pokemon where people are just like, oh, there's a bunch of Rattatas running around over there, like was really cool. I would have rather had us get a true like Pokemon trainer type of like movie. So it's just like, hey, listen, kid wants to be the best in the world. Like you could almost make it a sports movie.
Right. No, you absolutely could. I think I picture it similar to like what's that movie with Hugh Jackman with the boxing robots? Real Steel or whatever it is.
Real Steel.
That kind of idea of like because in that movie the kid wants to be like the best boxer and he wants to connect with his dad and he's using the robot fighting as a way of doing it. It's a similar kind of format. I actually think that's a perfect example. Detective Pikachu built this world where Pokemons exist and we just live among them and we kind of deal with them and whatever. So they've already kind of established that world is there. In that particular movie, they told us the story of this specific kid with the father and all that stuff. But I think you give us more stories. Don't connect them all. That's one thing they need to avoid. Not everything needs to be connected into some major, shared universe. But you can just tell us it's the same world. It's just another story, another kid, another person telling their own story in that movie.
You could do different trainers.
Right.
Each movie could be a different trainer in a different region. So the first movie, like you go back to Ash, you have him, Ash Ketchum be the, you go through Johto with him, goes to the Pokemon championships and he whatever. And then the next movie, you go on to another region, another area and stuff like that.
Right.
And you follow a different Pokemon trainer. And then don't have to necessarily connect them all, but at the end they have some sort of masters tournament, like the trainer from every region coming together to play in this one tournament, and now you've got some real like, oh, I don't know who to root for type of thing. Like, it can even be a series if you wanted to go with a
right.
With a
I think
show.
Pokemon is ripe for movies, though. I think you can get a whole
So do I. I think budget wise, it also kind of has to be a movie.
Yeah, I kind of agree.
I think Army of Two for a movie.
Army of Two is good. That's a good one. That's a real good choice, actually. A Way Out even reminds me of that.
Wasn't there an Army of Two movie though?
Yeah, but it was
Denzel and
that wasn't. It was actually very similar to the game, but it wasn't Army of Two. I mean, it was just a similar concept.
Wasn't Army of Two? Yeah.
I do think this is kind of a deep dive a little bit. One last video game, and then I think we got to call it, is Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver. The whole series, Blood Omen, Soul Reaver, all that stuff. That needs to be a movie. That needs to be a TV show probably more than a movie. But that goth kind of vampire, creature, monster thing, like that could be a phenomenal show. Especially if done on like Netflix. Too. Well, Castlevania has the animated show. I mean, I would love to see a live action Castlevania, honestly, but they have the animated show that's pretty good. What about Mega Man?
As a kids show,
I think you kind of fall back into the same thing you were talking about with Nintendo.
Yeah. After I said it, I was like, yeah,
videos have come so far as like story wise is concerned, like them able to tell like really intricate stories through the games that there's a lot like we don't have like platformers and old school games and everything like that, as cool as they are and as much as we love to play them, necessarily know if they have like the rich background or rich intricacies to become a movie.
I guess we'll have to wait and see what Mario Brothers turns out like, because that's
animated.
It's fully animated CG. So from what I understand, my guess is going to look a lot like Wreck-It Ralph did. I'm not a huge fan.
Bob Hoskins, let's do
it. Mega Man with the Bel Air treatment. Benny2755 says Mega Man with the Bel Air treatment. So you're talking. I guess we'll give X a coke problem, and we'll give Zero he'll be the cool kid in school. I mean, I think Mega Man, if you do a live action / CG kind of combo, the same way they did Sonic, could work. But again, you're right though with the whole Nintendo thing. I mean, these characters, their personalities aren't really rounded out. There's the hero, there's the villain. Someone's caught and in distress. You got to go save them. That's kind of what it comes down to.
Very copy and paste. Like this is the robot that does rules. This is the robot that does metal.
Right. So I think Steve, you're right. As like a TV show, maybe on Netflix, it might work, but maybe not for a movie. I don't know.
I think that and Spyro, an animated Spyro would be a good kids show.
They would be great kids. Spyro would be an excellent kids show. I'm actually surprised that everyone's never tried.
Listen, any of those type of games like Crash Bandicoot,
Banjo-Kazooie,
even go old school and go Earthworm Jim. You could turn any of those into kids shows.
I would love to see an Earthworm Jim show, but that's got to be like a Rick and Morty type show.
That would have to be like a Rick and Morty type, like animated for adults type of show. But
hell yeah. No. So for anyone who doesn't know, the Thor toy line has been released, and they actually unveiled some of the images. Let me see if I can get some images.
Interesting thing about all this is that Marvel actually released it instead of letting else beat them to the punch. So they're telling us this is what it is. The Lego set is an Asgardian tour boat. It's got Tooth Gnasher and Tooth Grinder.
I'm interested. I mean, it's fun to me. It's interesting that the Korg is one of the toys. Like one of the first images we see is of Korg. That's a big. It kind of shows he's gonna be more important to the series, I think, going forward.
It's definitely gonna be more important to the series going forward, and I think you have an answer to your Mjolnir problems. Because
wait, you broke up. You gotta say that again.
I think you have an answer to your Mjolnir problems.
Isn't it Mjolnir?
Mjolnir. Mew.
So what's that answer though? The multiverse?
So the Mjolnir Hammer that they are releasing a toy line is completely cracked up and re-put back together.
So you're telling me that Jane Foster just grabbed some super glue and glued Mjolnir?
No. I have a new theory on how this movie starts based on all of this. Some stuff, some melded some puzzle pieces together.
Rocket Raccoon does it.
No, I think they go back to King of the Dwarves.
Eitri the dwarf. He actually they're saying that he's going to reprise his role.
So what I'm thinking is because the set side of the boat, and then it's Asgardian tour guides.
Interesting.
So I think Jane goes to New Asgard to look for Thor because she has cancer, and she meets Valkyrie, obviously, who is now, if you notice, her Lego character is King Valkyrie.
Right.
He's the new king of Asgard, right? She goes, meets King Valkyrie. The Asgardians are making money now by doing Asgardian tours around Norway with these Viking boats. And Valkyrie says that Thor's in space with the Guardians, and we got to go find him because, and the other thing. And the broken pieces of Mjolnir are in that area. So she probably has them collected in a bag somewhere. They meet up with Thor. The way to save Jane the cancer is by restoring Mjolnir and bring it to Eitri.
So you're saying Mjolnir is probably used to help keep Jane alive for the time being.
The storyline in the comics.
Right.
She was Thor, it kept her alive. But when she stopped being Thor, it made her cancer worse. Ultimately, that's what kills her.
That's interesting.
So, piecing stuff together, I think we have a pretty solid plot form in here.
That is a pretty, and I know the beginning of the movie is going to be the Asgardians of the Galaxy, with Thor, he's going to be with Groot and all them. So I figured that'll be the first, say, 5 to 10 minutes of the movie. Then they'll kind of go separate ways, and maybe then he comes up with the whole Mjolnir thing. Maybe he sees that he comes back to Earth, separates from the Guardians, and Jane's there, and then he's like, "Well, can we use the hammer to keep you safe until we can get you healed completely?" That's interesting. That's a good theory. I do think she looks excellent. As far as the artwork's concerned, she looks phenomenal as Thor. I love his new outfit. I will say my only
God Thor.
Yeah.
Outfit.
Which makes sense, especially considering that they're going to introduce Zeus and all that stuff. So, I mean, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I do think that if they don't bring the Grand Master back in some sort of capacity, I'm going to be very upset.
We'll get Grandmaster again when we go to World War Hulk.
You think they're going to do World War Hulk? I would love if they do World War Hulk. I don't think they're going to.
A lot of rumors about World War Hulk, man.
I do too. I think they're going to give us elements of it across various movies.
That's what they do with Planet Hulk.
Right.
With Scar stuff.
Right. So I think we're going to get a similar treatment to that. I don't know about anytime soon. I have a feeling.
I've also heard that how they're going to introduce Wolverine is Hulk versus Wolverine movie.
Oh my God, I would love that. Don't even get me excited. I mean, I would love that. That would be a phenomenal way to do it.
They'll introduce Alpha Flight and Wolverine that way.
I would love that. I would love it, but it depends. It's going to be a hard casting choice, man. They really gotta nail it with the casting of Wolverine, which I think they will. I mean, they've never kind of steered us wrong before, so why would they start now? But if we feel like it's a major casting choice, then that Marvel also understands they're not going to take it lightly. So,
exactly.
World War Hulk is one of my favorite storylines in the comics, and seeing some of the Planet Hulk stuff was great, but I feel like they have so far missed an opportunity to have Hulk as a main villain in an Avengers movie and go full blown World War Hulk. But having said that, to really do World War Hulk justice, you need him beating the shit out of everybody, not just the Avengers, but mutants, the Avengers, the Guardians, whoever it is that come after Hulk. He needs to basically say, get up off me. Don't you know who I am? I'm the Hulk, bitch. That'd be amazing.
We'll have to wait and see. I'm sure we're going to get a trailer. I'm hearing a lot of theories that we're going to get a trailer by the end of the week.
Well, see, I don't know about this week. My guess is Moon Knight comes out at the end of the month. I could see them maybe releasing a trailer sometime just before Moon Knight, just to kind of get the Marvel train rolling. But I have heard that we're going to get it soon, this month. Or, March. Sooner rather than later. So.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah, man.
That's all I got on that one.
All right, boys. This is an entertaining show. Benny2755 says, great show, gents. Thank you very much for the compliment. We'll be here next Tuesday as well. Anyone who's missed this, I'll be posting it on YouTube. And if you haven't already, like and subscribe. We're a full-blown podcast now. So if you prefer to hear us instead of see our pretty faces, because after Steve shaved his beard, you might be a little upset about that. We are on all the podcasting platforms. I will let you know when this one goes up, but last week's episode is up, and ScytheX did his own podcast, the Multiversal podcast, based on strictly games, some of the new announcements in the gaming world. That is also up. So take a look at that on wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you haven't already, join, subscribe, follow the whole nine on Twitch, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. The majority of the announcements go to Facebook first, and they kind of trickle down to everywhere else. And if there's anything you want us to talk about in a future show, or you want to jump into the chat and let us know, feel free to mention it on Facebook, mention it in the chats. We love the feedback. Also, keep an eye out for some future updates coming out. I mean, we're working on behind the scenes some tournaments coming up. I know Zuplex is going to be working on some of his own stuff. We want some more gaming. On Saturday, I will be sharing my journey through Horizon Forbidden West for the PS5 players out there on Twitch. And so that's it. I'll see you guys on next Tuesday. And until then, GG everybody, and let's kind of keep going. We got a lot of stuff coming out. This is a good time to be a nerd. See you later.
Go, baby.